Good good evening. This is Jane. Hi Don, you're on the air and I have to add Pianki.
And I have to do what?
I have to call Pianki, he just called.
But you are on the air already? You're making your intro?
I'm in the first 15 seconds.
Go ahead.
I'm doing my intro and then I'll call him, okay?
No problem.
Or should I call him now?
No, do the intro first.
Okay. This is Jane Hoffman live from Political Gravity. I studied the war and the cost of the war so far. The first 4 days of war, it cost the United States $3.7 billion in 4 days alone. That was the first 100 hours of war. Only 5% of that ability to launch war was approved by Congress, probably previously. The Center for Strategic and International Studies estimated the cost so far. The U.S. launched 200 fighter jets in the air, warships and artillery on the land, which cost $196 million. We had 2,600 offensive missiles that were guided weapons, and it cost $3.1 billion to replace each one that fell. 3 F-15s were destroyed over Kuwait. That cost $359 million. $3.7 million total in 4 days. Iran defenses also cost the U.S. money every time they launch a counterattack. The U.S. struck from a distance because they knew that Iran could knock down whatever they sent at close range. So our Tomahawk cruise missiles, which we send from a far distance, cost $3.6 million a day a piece. And we also had $80,000 in smart bombs, which are probably more precise punitive targets. Iran itself projected 500 ballistic missiles, 2,000 drones, in which 1,800 were intercepted by the United States and allies, but it still costs millions of dollars to prevent that from happening. The Pentagon only has a $178 million budget. It's well over that. And Abbas Araghchi, the defense minister in Iran, said that they're not going to back down and they're going to seek a resolution on their terms, meaning they're not just going to comply and surrender as Donald Trump is asking. We have one host on the line. A couple more will be calling in, and I'm going to call Pianki now, Don, okay? Okay, thank you. I have to...
Hello.
Hi, you're on the air now with Yumi and Don. Don, say hi to Don.
Hello, Don. How are you, sir?
Hey, Bianchi, you're fine. Thank you very much.
How's your family?
They're doing fucking wonderful.
That's great, man. That's great.
Yeah, no. The granddaughters have choice of colleges, so they're going to probably stay home, but they can go to USC. They can go to Santa Barbara. They've got all kinds of choices. But the rest of the grandkids are doing fantastic, and we're just living the dream, actually, and it doesn't matter what happens, but we're going to be a family, and that's what counts. Oh, yeah.
I'm really happy for you.
Yeah, no, we're an anomaly, as you can see, you know, a black family in America that's successful. It's kind of like, you know, you don't don't see him very often, I guess. I don't know, according to some people, but
Somebody's living the dream, but most Americans are going to be facing more costs now.
oh, it's going to be bad, bad, bad. I mean, not only is oil up, it's going to stay up for a while, but it's going to be everything that's made with oil, and then all the other problems that we're going to have, because somebody's going to have to rebuild these places. And I can almost see Iran being another Cuba that doesn't have anything at all.
Well,
rebuild what places?
Israel already bombed their electrical infrastructure, which isn't really fair to them. And I guess their oil operations are shut down completely right now.
Right.
Well, I'll tell you what, they're going to pay the United States for what she's done for helping.
Well, it's cost the United States $3.7 billion since we started. 27 days.
Right, they got oil.
Yeah, but not every place in America is doing well, as Don said. California, it's $8 a gallon.
Well, that's because California has taxes on their oil. Ours is $3.20, and that's high.
Well, actually, in Minnesota, it's about $4. It's up to $3 or $4 here, and it's doubled in the last 2 weeks.
Yes, but if the United States go and help liberate a country, that country is gonna pay us.
I really doubt we're liberating them. We're causing a lot of destruction.
Well, they should have got rid of the regime that killed 30,000 of them.
Well, we know from a human rights standpoint, it was probably a better move, but we're wondering what's right now. It's very costly. There's no solution in sight, and Congress has yet to approve any of the costs, except for 5%.
Well, they do like they done in France to help the underground in France to fight the Germans. We could just parachute weapons and ammunition, but we're afraid that the old regime would confiscate them and nothing will be gained.
I think that, I don't think Israel cares how much they debilitate Iran, and I don't even think Trump does either. Somebody's phone is on speaker and it's causing problems.
Well, the thing with the United States, the goal was to make sure that Iran is not obtaining any nuclear weapons and that they're not testing them. You can't test those things in the air where that infrared radiation will stay this side of our atmosphere and cause all kind of physical and biological harm to humans.
I think we're long. It's been determined now that Iran, even if they have only a tiny fraction of a chance of producing uranium-style bombs or some form of destruction, that they're not in a position right now to assert that. Is that your opinion?
Yeah, and they won't be for a while. We have decimated them, just like the president said. They cannot do anything right now with anything because, first of all, they don't have the infrastructure. Nobody's helping them. And 3 is they have no idea who's going to be able to be a leader because they don't have the economy to make the decision. This is a straight up Trump excursion. I'm sorry. And this is completely illegal because Congress is the only place that can declare a war. Congress has not declared a war at all in this.
They have 60 days to go. They have 60 days to go either for or against the president.
Yeah, but 60 days, this thing is already in the books.
It's been 27. It's been 27 days.
Yeah, well, bottom line is that if that's 60 days, somebody's going to have to be reimbursed somewhere.
Well, Iran's going to reimburse the United States. That's what's going to happen. Any other place that the U.S. helped liberate, they're going to pay for it.
Well, first of all, if they're not producing any oil right now and losing millions of dollars a day, then how are they going to do that?
And they'll be back online.
The oil will be back online.
I did read in another news summary that a lot of the fancy banks like Goldman Sachs and several others in Tehran have abandoned post, and they're leaving the country. So things aren't looking good at all.
Well, that's because doggone, we have bombed them out. They are just as bad as Venezuela
or Gaza.
Well, God, that's that's a personal thing. That was a civil thing. But I mean, if you want to call it that, but Gaza has very little water. They're hanging on to all the water they can, and at least Iran doesn't have that problem. But this is something that is going to destroy your land, and they have no leadership to guide them anywhere because they don't know whether they're a religious country or going to go into laissez-faire country like they were with the Shah. And the Shah, he was killing people too now, and anybody who was against him. So it wasn't a perfect. And his wife was a piece of shit.
Well, I do think that Iran is gonna fall if we keep up on the.
It's already fallen. We just have to make a decision as to what degree it's fallen. That's why if you guys aren't listening, you're not listening, Jane.
I'm listening. I've been studying the facts.
He said he's decimated. He's right. It's fallen.
What I'm saying is Iran going to allow the U.S. to overtake its leadership? I don't think so.
They don't have a choice. As long as President Trump is in there, man, I hate you saying that word. As long as President's in there, this is you don't understand. This is this is a personal vendetta. This has nothing to do with oil, nothing to do with economy, nothing to do with changing. Well, in a way it does, because Trump had been threatened several times in his first term from Iran. He had been threatened for his life, his family, everybody.
Why do Iran do those things? I don't understand.
Because their religion mandates, if you want to, is some sort of jihad.
I think it's because they don't, because Trump didn't give them the time of day. When he took office the first time, he just said the deal's off, the Obama deal's off, and we're not gonna adhere to it anymore.
And then we dropped the money. But the thing is that right after that, the Iranians threatened his life and his family's life, and president don't play. That's one of the things that these folks are trying to understand. The thing is, they don't understand. He's stupid as fuck. He graduated to last or second to last in his college. Everybody said he was dumb. His teachers, professors, everybody. The man is just.
I don't think he was dumb. I think he was undisciplined.
All of the above. And so, we're dealing with a goofball here who thinks he's a king. And that's what's happening this weekend with everybody's going out. I'll be at work. But they're going on with no kings again. So we're trying to.
Trump don't think he's a king. He just wants things to be done right. He's trying to build America. He got to fool around with Iran.
Well, why did we? I could see a couple of strikes in Iran, but 27 days worth of battle. that's just not realistic. It's not solving any problems.
And he's destroying American culture. You don't lie, you don't cheat, you don't steal, you don't have graft and corruption. That's the American way, ideally, even though everybody does it. 100% of all businesses at some point break the law. But we're talking about a guy who came over here from some other god-awful country and has values that are Nazi, mafia, so bad.
Okay, don't trash Trump all night, or Bianchi's gonna get mad. Let's just stick with the facts.
He said many times he's got more felonies than Al Capone. He's very, very proud of that. He sleeps with Mein Kampf on his bedside.
You've said that in over 50 shows.
I said it's 51.
Okay, let's get down to the meat and potatoes. The thing is,
it ain't what.
Go ahead.
It's not what he says, it's what he does. He does what he says he's gonna do. And I don't understand why come Americans
Taco. He's called Taco. He does not do what he says
he does.
Right.
Century, look at Century Aluminum. So Century Aluminum has came back online with 3 companies that's gonna supply board. He talked about this back in 2016. They're starting to produce aluminum in the United States.
That's great.
I'm glad he's doing, man.
He's gonna do, Don.
Right, but the thing is that he's done a whole lot of stuff that he hasn't done.
What have he said he was gonna do? He didn't do.
He still hasn't brought over what was that data that company from
that has to do with making America great.
Even you, Bianchi, said that going to war with a foreigner is not really a good plan. You said it yourself.
Look at what he's done with these data. My grandson's working on the largest data center in the United States that came about with the advent of Donald Trump and what he put in place.
Well, the thing is that data center was going to be built, whether Trump did it or not.
No, it wasn't. Well, Joe Biden put all that stuff on ice.
He put a lot of it on ice. It was good because this thing's take a lot of electricity, a lot of water.
They building their own electrical generation plant and also their water plant. Man,
I have
got a relative that's the lead engineer on the project. That's what he says. I have no reason to believe that he's lying.
Yeah, well, we have Tesla there. I fought against it because of the energy credits that we were giving out. I thought it was excessive, and they promised me pretty much.
Whatever they do, is people, Americans will be put back to work. Look at the automobile. Look at the steel plants down in southern Louisiana. They're in Ascension Parish, in the town called Donaldsonville, which is 80% black. That's going to put those people will have $95,000 a year jobs.
Right. Well, the thing is that leads to inflation. People don't understand that when you make more money, everything becomes inflated, and we're going to have inflation. But all of this is conjecture. Everything that the Republicans, except for the aluminum plants, those are real, and the data centers. But as I said, those would have been built for whatever. But
did you hear what Nathan Allen, the president of Nathan Allen? You know who Nathan Allen is? A major furniture company in the world. They're bringing their operations back to North America.
I think you're talking about. It's not Nathan Allen.
Mexico and Honduras. They're bringing it back to America.
It's not Nathan Allen. It's Ethan Allen.
I'm sorry, Ethan Allen. Thank you very much, Jane.
I want to ask you guys something. The war in Iran is way above our heads. We can't do anything to stop it, but let's talk about why is the Homeland Security still shut down and not getting paid?
Because they only want one part of it more or less eliminated or renegotiated. When you have masked armed gunmen. That is not peace officer under gangs. And that's what you need. We're not, America is not built for gangs. That's what I was saying before about what Trump's done with some of the things that he does. It's not American. It's un-American. And right now, in the midterms, I just came from Miami and Charlotte, and there's no reason for ICE down there at all. Those people are just trying to live their life, and there aren't enough of them to make a difference. But
were you delayed? Were you delayed in?
Are they illegal down?
Were you delayed in the airport?
You don't have police cars on every damn street.
Don, are they illegal?
You do, yeah, yes.
Well, then if they illegal, they are committed. If they're illegal, then they committed a crime.
I know, but we're not supposed to go after them when we let them in.
The Biden administration let them in. They did it against the law.
No, Trump, that first Trump.
U.S. 18, U.S.C. 18-111. They are violating the law.
They've been doing that for 200
years.
They've been doing it for 200 years.
Who's been doing it?
It's illegal.
That statute wasn't even in existence 200 years ago.
Was in 199 years ago.
You sound like these damn Negroes that want reparations, man. Cut that out.
Okay, I want to. Can we back up a minute, Don?
Reparations in order to feel equal. We're going to be taking this shit over no matter what, black folks. So the bottom line is that
when
black folks' kids are dead last in education. What are they? They can't read. So when you take over the directions, what are they going to be in Braille?
No, they can't read Braille either. It'll be in smoke signals or something.
Man, I don't understand why y'all play around with them.
Because we are the superior race. Everybody knows it. And we just have
Don, you know what? There's no black herd that's going to take over in the next 5 years. Right now, it's run by war hawks that are depleting our country's resources. And I want to say something about Homeland Security. So Congress cut off part of Homeland's funding because they wanted ICE reforms. But a lot of these people are working for free, and they're working at airports, and they want to quit, and many of them have. So what's the solution? I would like some answers.
Patience. They're going to get paid. They're going to get credits by certain people whenever they need it. And when they get paid, it's going to be a fat check.
This is what the Democrats want. They don't want voter ID. Right, for one thing. Most of Americans tell you that you're supposed to have voter ID. Now, Don,
in the Constitution, the citizen can vote.
The state is not in the Constitution. It's not neither. Well, let's put it like this. If the states want illegals to vote, then the states can let them vote, but they cannot vote federally. And you know it.
No, of course. You don't want
They cannot vote federally. They can't vote for Congress, vice president, or president. That's why there needs to be separate ballots.
They shouldn't vote for any office.
If a state, a local municipality want illegal to vote, that's fine. Nope.
Why are you guys deflecting and talking about voter IDs when we're on Homeland Security?
That's the big part of it, Jane.
Okay.
The first part of it is having ICE separated from funding. And the second big part of it is voter ID, where they're going to be, have you.
ICE received their funding in the big, beautiful bill. They're funded through 2029.
Right, but the thing is that the Democrats are demanding that be renegotiated.
Democrats don't want illegals removed because the illegals will vote for Democrats.
No, not necessarily.
I looked at a Chicago ballot of their election just last week. On the ballot, they had the local candidates, and then they had candidates that was running for the U.S. Congress. Illegals can vote for them.
In what state was that?
That was the city of Chicago, Illinois.
I don't know what their rules are there, but that doesn't sound right.
You can go on Google and Google Chicago election ballots and do an image. Look at the image and you can see the ballots.
Okay, I'm going to do it right now while you're talking.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
And what about if you can see the ballots? What happened?
You can see that you have federal candidates on that ballot where you have state and local issues, which they allow illegals to vote.
Okay. They shouldn't be able to vote. Period. That's me.
How would you keep an illegal from walking up ballot and putting marks by the federal candidate? You don't know who the ballot is coming from, Don.
Nope. I agree with you.
I've never done a mail-in ballot.
But the president does the mail-in ballot. He's so fat and sloppy he can't walk to the fucking polls.
He ain't no fat and sloppy then.
How do you know if he does? How do you know if he does, Don?
If you what?
If he walks to the ballot box or
He does mail-in ballots.
who told you that?
It's well known. Trump always votes when it first started. He started voting with mail-in ballots.
Okay, by the way, I'm not able to find an image on the internet of an illegal a ballot that illegals can vote on.
Go to Google and put the subject in Google search. Then when it comes up, go to the very top and click images. And you'll see all the ballots.
Wait, you click what?
Image up at the top.
Image of Chicago ballots. City. I am going on image and I'm doing exactly that. And they don't have a specific one.
At the very top of the page, you got different categories.
I know what you're talking.
You choosing all. You can choose videos. You can choose image.
I am choosing image. There's lots of pictures. There's no specific citywide ballot.
I'll send you one.
Okay. What? Well, let's get on to our other meat and potatoes, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
So, I have to get back on the show page. So, first of all, this is not a good time in America to be starting a war.
We're not starting a war.
We did, yeah. We started a war with Iran. All we could.
What's your point?
We could have done limited airstrikes.
He told Iran that's what he was going to do.
That's not the point. He didn't give him much warning, and he was under Israel's.
They had over 30 days, Jane.
30 days is not enough time to develop a strategy or make a decision.
Well, we killed their top cleric.
Well, he was a leader. He's not only just a cleric. And that's
because those people, though his top cleric, had been behind the instigation of terrorist attacks on Americans and killing Americans.
All I know is I don't like blanket fighting, like where Israel goes in and bomb. They killed at least 3 journalists in Lebanon, and they just hit where they wanted. Now Israel's paying a price. They're getting They hit the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, which is the location.
That's Israel.
I know, but we're in collaboration with Israel.
That don't make no difference. I don't know nothing about what Israel do. You have to talk to them about that.
Well, I don't have BB's home phone.
Well, what happened with Israel back in October of last year? October the
No,
10th?
it was almost 2 years ago, October 7th, 2024.
All right, well, what happened with them? Who's that attacked Israel in 2024 in October?
They were killed by the Hamas, many hundreds of people.
And Iran supports Hamas. Iran supports Hezbollah.
I know
who
that.
Hezbollah is infiltrated in Venezuela.
Venezuela?
Hezbollah is infiltrated in Venezuela.
I doubt that.
Look it up. I have no reason to lie.
I wish I could play you guys a video, but I can't with my phone on. Okay,
like
so
Donald Trump is.
He's taking our country down.
He's not taking it.
in a couple of years,
the country down. The country is already down.
No, it wasn't always great. And plus, I like what he's doing. I mean, when you destroy the economy and make everybody equal, then you start leveling the playing field.
People are not going to be evil. Let's take blacks, for instance. Somebody that you know. Their kids are not educated, Don.
you say that
They're
every
not
show
educated.
too.
I got black kids.
That's your kids.
They go to private school.
It doesn't matter
That's
how
your kid.
educated people are, the country's being destroyed. Because we're not spending money on the right stuff.
We are spending money. We're not spending money on the wrong stuff.
Well, just think about all the college money that Trump could have funded that he took away and things of that nature.
We should not be funding colleges.
I disagree.
Why would you fund a college? College should be operating off of tuitions.
But the thing is, these colleges need to be run because that's free research and development.
Yeah, the ones that can do that, they are doing. But look at this, Don. Black kids can't even perform at the college level. So why are you worrying about them being funded?
Because they get a piece of paper that can go to work and pay taxes. That's the bottom.
They can't get a piece of. They can't get a piece of paper. They can't.
All about.
They can't come out of college. A 4-year degree, it takes them 6 years plus.
What does that mean? They're putting money into the economy. But the thing is that the research and development that comes out of it is free, virtually free.
Well, they come out of the colleges where the students are able and capable of performing. That's what it's about.
But nobody knows which student can perform.
They do know which students can perform. That's readily available.
They don't know until the very.
You only got five. You got about 4 colleges out of 100 that has a graduation rate above 50%, Don, in 6 years.
Right, and at least they're the wins outnumber the losses.
They do not.
You guys always end up on the same topics.
Well, we stay there, we leave and go to something different. You the moderator.
Yeah. We didn't talk.
That's true.
We didn't talk much about DHS. Like, can you imagine going to work every day and not having a paycheck?
There's going to be a lot of that going on. There's going to be a lot of that going on.
Well, how are people?
Amazon laid off what, 30,000?
Yeah.
Well, that's very difficult.
Well, they've got a whole slew of drivers, and they drive until damn near midnight.
I got a job through them, but I didn't take it.
Yeah,
It was either 2 or 4 days a week, and I would have had it driven till 10 o'clock at night. But it was a subsidiary company that was gonna pay me to do it 2 or 4 days a week, and it just seemed too long and too much pressure.
They got a lot of pressure, especially making sure that you don't crash. If you crash, you're damn near done.
Well, that's not the point. The point is that I'd have to go into rural areas an hour away from here. And, and then they said I had like, they had like 60 drops a day. I would have had to go between 50 and 60 houses.
That's what they all do. That's a low drop from what I ascertained from some of the drivers. Because when I'm out in the field, I'm walking, I see them all the time. And most of them are looking at anywhere from 100 to 130 drops.
Well, how can they handle the pressure?
They move, 9-hour, 10-hour days.
Do you think the prices of shipping will go up now that the prices of gas did?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. They're going to be all cut. Not all of them are electric. But, yes, for the most part, yes, because when you talk about loss of oil, that's what all these trucks, diesel, that's our big problem. Diesel is now being sent to the rest of the world, Japan, Indonesia, Pakistan, from Canada. Canada is mad at us and now is not giving us any of the dirty oil that it takes to make diesel.
What the hell, Canada?
The only oil America has, the best oil, is light crude, sweet light crude, which is perfect for cars and not for trucks and buses.
Yeah.
Well, I would have been driving like a SUV. I wouldn't have been driving a big truck.
Well, the SUV truck, it doesn't matter. You get more mileage on a diesel than you do a regular car. But it doesn't.
The United States is not the cause of increased gasoline pricing.
Yes, it is.
Yes, we are, because of our war in Iran. We could have.
Yeah, but we do not get oil from Iran.
The thing is that.
But the rest of the world does.
You forget Venezuela. We just bombed out and took out the United States didn't get oil from Venezuela.
I'm gonna Google it.
What'd you say, Bianchi?
The United States was not getting oil from Venezuela.
We're independent. Right now, we are independent.
Absolutely.
Right, but the thing is that we still rely on the dirty oil from Canada, Permian. They're sending it to Vancouver and out to the eastern country.
Yeah, what does that got to do with the Strait of Hormuz?
When James, the oil
that comes out of Canada comes through pipes down into the United States.
Yeah, but they're stopping in Vancouver right now.
Well, they should. Well, then Canada is doing something. Canada is not living up to this agreement.
But no, they're not, because they're mad at us.
They mad at us because of the lumber.
Yeah.
We put tariffs on their lumber because they were undermining lumber mills in Georgia.
I just Googled it. It was the supply chain caused by the war in Iran is causing a lot of the spikes. It's not just hunky-dory business as usual. We're being affected by the Strait of Hormuz. Iran is still in charge of the Strait of Hormuz.
Companies are gouging. That's what they're doing.
This is the perfect time for gouging. In fact, Trump is going to be indicted again for insider trading for the spike to 108, and then on the next day or 2 days later, back down to 90.
Trump is not running any country.
Somebody's family and all.
Hell, I made money off of ExxonMobil yesterday.
Exxon and Chevron are going to go through the roof because of Venezuela.
Yeah.
Trump administration has already said that he wants them to take over the oil fields.
Because Venezuela can't do it themselves right now.
They can do it themselves. They've been doing it for years. We intervened. We had
Venezuela's equipment is antiquated. The equipment is antiquated, Don.
Yeah, but he wanted Maduro out there.
Maduro right now is in court for drug trafficking.
Correct. That's fine. He should.
Who is in court for drug trafficking?
The president of Venezuela.
Well, we have upset a lot of the world. As bad or good as something is, we have been upsetting the world the way that it was before Trump took office. We're being we're disruptive.
It was corruption.
Well, there's corruption here too. We're spending 3.7 billion every 4 days on the war in Iran.
Iran is going to pay for it like they did.
No, they're not.
Just Iran's oil field was nationalized under the Shah. They had to pay Britain.
Britain overpowered them and dominated them for years under Mossadegh, and then Mossadegh nationalized.
They had to pay Britain for the technology because they didn't know how to bring oil out of the ground.
That was before they put Mossadegh in captivity, and then the Dulles brothers and Eisenhower and a couple other of them had a coup, and they put Mossadegh under house arrest and took over the oil again.
Yeah, somebody's got to work with Venezuela until they can establish a functional government. They can't do it without help because the people are not armed. Plus, you got members of the cartel that's still running around waiting for the right moment to put things back in place the way it was.
Okay. Well, are we running out of topics? Because John never called in. And he's the one who complains the most when I don't have a show. And Bianchi wondered what happened to me, and I was working 7 days a week, but now I cut back again to 2 jobs. I'm going to have 2 days off a week, and just one day I only work 2 hours, and another day I work 2 hours. So I'm working 4 to 5 days a week at Walmart and 2 days a week at a school where I only work there 2.5 hours. So I need your input. I want to know what you guys think is going to happen in the next 30 days with Iran. Like, they're still trying to call the shots with their national foreign minister said that they want to negotiate an agreement that concerns them. And it's not just going to be on Trump's term, it's going to be on their terms too. And I want you guys' opinion.
What I think is that we're going to stop bombing and declare victory, but the Iranians will not stop until they're pretty much completely dead.
They sent over 2,000 drones in the air, and 1,800 were intercepted.
They're going to have Israel as a surrogate. So,
well, I don't know if I know Israel. I ain't worried about it.
I don't think Hamas is strong anymore, and Iran can't collaborate with them anymore.
It takes the Iranian people to straighten out their country.
Well, how are they going to do that when they're under attack by us?
Iranian people is praising the United States. The United States is bombing military installations because they would take those installations like they've done before and use them on the people of Iran.
Their own people. Yeah.
Not only 20% of the country is praising the U.S. I listened to a long interview the other night, and they don't like the terms the U.S. has provided for them.
Well, I don't know what the terms are, but one thing for sure is that they need to pay for their freedom. We can't be helping these people expending and using taxpayers' dollars.
Well, we also can't go in there and obliterate them even more and killing regular civilians.
What you are obliterating is military installations.
But they've also killed a lot of civilians.
There's always some casualties of that nature, yes.
I just don't think it's going in the right direction. That's just my opinion.
Okay, so what direction would you go in to stop them from perfecting a weapons, nuclear?
Well, even if I was a conservative, a couple hits on their nuclear facility would have been enough for me, but that's not really my style. I wouldn't have tried.
What would have been your style?
Verbal negotiation and policy implementation.
They were doing negotiations before they got to the point where they are with vertical launch missiles. You don't need vertical launch missiles in order to put up a defense. Vertical launch missiles in silos that's embedded in granite rock mountains. Something's wrong with that picture.
I don't think Iran was forceful enough as a threat.
They were a threat. They talk like
They were a threat.
Okay, I'm gonna look this up.
Iran.
They already got the ability to fire rockets, or shall I say missiles, over 30,000 kilometers.
Iran and Lebanon and it used to be Saudi Arabia. That's where these terrorists train. They have their training facilities all around there.
Well, some of those people think we're terrorists too by invading all these different countries.
We are terrorists. We're the best terrorists of them all. Just ask the president. He'll tell you.
Okay, let's go. I'm going into the Iranian timeline. So after Obama had an agreement in 2013 with Rouhani, they discussed a nuclear program so they could eliminate some sanctions. In 2014, they reached an agreement. But then in 2015, a civil war broke out in Yemen, in which the Houthis aligned with some of the, I think they had an alignment with Hamas, and they started randomly attacking Saudi Arabia. The sanctions were lifted in 2016 by US and Europe, and then Trump in 2017 extended sanction waivers. He renewed sanction waivers and ended any sanctions that were being lifted. Now I'm just trying to jump ahead to like the last 5 years.
You got leaders in them organizations that want to take control, and then they can be a puppet for the United States, get US aid, dollars, and so on and so on. That's what it's all about. The United States don't need anything from that part of the world.
Well, besides oil, what else does Iran produce?
I don't know. They don't produce anything we need.
Well, I really don't think we should have picked our most formidable foe to pick battles with.
Because they were pursuing weapons-grade nuclear material.
They had already gotten it, but now they need.
I can't find specific information on that right now.
They need a deployment system.
Now, if they had been exploding those weapons, they got to test them, and you start having ill effects from radiation, have bones growing out your forehead and everything, then you'd be complaining that Trump didn't do enough.
Well, I think I'll be dead before all. In the next 5 years, it's going to get ugly. And people are going to suffer. That's my conclusion. I don't think Trump's going to live out his 4-year term. I think worse things are going to happen. You're right. He does have a target on his back. And now we're stuck with his reckless decisions. So do you guys want to do your conclusions now? Because I'm expecting DoorDash.
Trump did not have no reckless decisions. People lie. They lie.
Well, I just have problems with going to war with Iran. I have a problem with that.
Well, Iran, this has been talked about for decades. Iran was known that you cannot produce nuclear weapons. Simple as that.
Okay, next week I'm going through the timeline, but my DoorDash driver's almost here, and if you guys want to keep talking, I gotta go down there and give him the PIN number.
That's all right. I'm ready to go to bed. I got to work tomorrow.
Okay, Don, I want to talk to you about your job because Lauren works for the same company, and you said they have an office in Reno. So can I call you 5 minutes after the show ends?
Sure.
Okay, thank you. Good night, everybody. Thank you for calling.
Nice, Bianchi.
Bye.
Bye.
Hello?
Hi, are you the DoorDash driver?
Yes.
Yeah, I was coming